So our first guest is Mrs. Jessica Chesbro from the Consulate of United States of America. Say hi to Mrs. Jessica, everyone. And our second guest is Mrs. Lily Suada from Education USA. Say hi to Mrs. Lilis, everyone. And our last guest is Mrs. Rahma Jaurinata from the Medan City Consulate in charge of culture and education. Say hi to Mrs. Rahma. For Mrs. Rahma, please occupy the provided seat at the front.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. Yes, as you may have guessed, I'm not the sports envoy. They are on their way. I am here from the consulate to talk to you about great educational opportunities and to have these two ladies, who are honestly the real experts here, talk about our education and exchange opportunities. We're very happy to have you all here because we think it's important that young Indonesians learn about our opportunities to study in the U.S. in terms of education and exchange programs, because Indonesians do not make enough use of the opportunities we have. In a typical year, we have about 8,000 Indonesians studying in the U.S., which sounds like a lot, but in comparison, the country of Vietnam sends over 20,000 people a year. And Indonesia is more than twice the size of Vietnam. So if Vietnam is sending 20,000, we're hoping we can get Indonesia sending 50,000 people a year. Because we love the opportunities for the Vietnamese students, but we also love Indonesian students, and we want to give you your fair share of opportunities. So we're going to discuss different opportunities to study in the U.S., both as part of a formal exchange program and the Education USA advising if you want to get an undergraduate degree in the U.S. We're going to talk about some information about funding and how to do it, and we're going to talk about inclusivity in the program, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the remarks, Mrs. Jessica. Now you can start your presentations about study abroad programs in the USA. Time is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hi. How are you today? Okay. So Ms. Jessica has explained a little bit about education in the U.S. and number of students. And hopefully, after this session, we're gonna have more Indonesian students, especially from Palembang, departing to the U.S. Okay, my name is Lilis, and I'm an Education USA advisor based in Banda Aceh, but currently covering the whole Sumatra. We're going to be talking about undergraduate study in the U.S. because you guys are in high schools, and just wanted to know how many of you planning to study overseas. Awesome. Okay. Great. And let's see how many ones opted U.S. as an option. Not yet. Probably after this session. Oh, we have one right there. Okay. Good. Now let's see study in the U.S. Education USA, for your information, is a global network. This is a U.S. Department of State network, and located in 170 countries. We have over 400 centers, and what we do is promoting the diversity of U.S. institutions and kind of take part in students' journey to prepare their study, either undergraduate or postgraduate, or including exchange program. The location in Indonesia, okay. I'm based in Uin Araniri, Banda Aceh. The email is below that. Very easy, just the city, aceh@educationusa.org. And then we have one center in U.S. Embassy, Jakarta, and one center at Amerika. This is actually in the mall. In case you travel to Jakarta, feel free to visit Pacific Place. In addition to in-person session, you can also have online advising, and you can book the consultation via calendly.com/educationusa Indonesia. We highly encourage everyone here to follow our social media to get the updates of the events and also information on study in the US. This is the services of Education USA, very comprehensive, starting from researching your option. Why it matters? Because we hope all students departing to the US will find their best fit. Best fit means you will be kind of happy and get what you want, okay? In terms of academically and financially, we call it best fit university. And also finance your education. Some universities offer scholarships and some not, especially for undergraduate program. But it's very important to have an effective planning in terms of budgeting, so then you know which one is the best fit university, not only for the program but also in terms of the budget. Next one is complete your application. This is another process. There are some documents you will need to supply, and different university might require different documents. And also we're gonna be looking at the documents and the requirements in the next slide. And after you get the acceptance letter from the university, Education USA can provide further information on how to apply for US visa. And once your visa is granted, we also host it usually twice, pre-departure orientation, to help students before embarking their study in the US. They can have an easy, preparation and departure. And next slide. This is okay. Some of you raised hand when I asked, do you want to study overseas? Many of you raised hand. And I mentioned US and then only few. What would be the concern if you could share? Why not USA? Any idea for reasons? Okay. Just to share, some of students and parents are concerned about safety issue. And some think about, and yes, you say yes, right? And some concerned about the distance. This is really far. But again, there are benefits and many reasons why students departing to the US. First thing first is most prestigious top ranked schools in the world are in the US. If you see 7 out of 10 top schools in the US, in the world, not in the US, 7 out of 10 schools in the world are located in the US. That's why, not so many people are interested, but those who are looking for quality will definitely include US in the options. Okay? Next one is cutting edge research. There are different types of institutions, private uni, public uni, research institutions, community college and others, universities that you can choose from. Life experience, the diversity. US is a melting pot. This is one of the largest countries in the world with different, backgrounds of its populations. So you can see Asian American there, African American, right? Spanish American, many, different kinds of backgrounds that you can meet. Meaning that if you want to find a diversity, then go to the US. The facilities, the qualities, and also the facilities offered, many Indonesian students choose US as an option. And these are the 5 favorite states, okay? The one is California. Do you know why California is so popular? Okay. What do you know about California? Have you heard about Silicon Valley? Yes. So many students is looking for opportunity to work in high-tech company. So if you study, for example, technology or engineering or computer science, so many students leave for California thinking that at the end of their study they will gain a lot of knowledge, but at the same time build network and experience working in companies in the US. And the next state is New York. Okay, and Massachusetts, where Massachusetts, MIT, Harvard. Okay, in California, Stanford Uni is located, and in Texas and Illinois. Okay. Even some of you might concern about being undergraduate student in the US can be difficult, but looking at the data, 56% of Indonesian students are currently pursuing undergraduate study, not graduate. So 20 of them are doing masters and PhD, 17 are doing OPT, optional practicum training, so they are working professionally in the US. And the last one is non-degree program, like English or public certificate program. Okay? This is the education system. We are now in SMA or high school, and there are two options. This shows the diversity of options you can choose to study in the US. First is you can directly study to 2-year program. It's called community college, and you will earn associate degree. Okay, associate of art or associate of science. This is 2 years program. But later on, after you complete this program in community college, you can transfer another 2 years in universities. Okay, if you don't think community college is a good fit for you, there is another option which is like 4-year program or 4-year college. There's 4-year universities, and you can earn Bachelor of Art or Bachelor of Science. And after that, you can continue doing masters and finally doctorate degree. Okay? Which one is the best fit for you? Okay, we are going to look at the differences between community college and universities in terms of the length. So community college is 2 years. You can just stop 2 years and then earn associate, or you can continue another 2 years, 2+2 program. At the end of the day, you earn 2 degree, associate and bachelor. Okay, or you can also go to public university, it's directly 4 years, or private university, also 4 years. Okay. What really different here is in terms of the cost and funding, the tuition and fees. If you're doing a degree in community college, it can cost you for tuition around 9,000, and including all at cost, it can be up to 30,000. While if you choose a public university, the 4-year program, it can cost around 38,000 up to 56,000. Well, if you think private uni is the best fit for you, okay, it can cost you more, 40 up to 80,000. Like, say, Ivy League, Columbia, Stanford, Harvard, it costs around 80,000. But it looks very big number, right? Because of the quality. Bear in mind, especially in private uni, it's really expensive, but the option for financial aid is also much more available, because they wanted to support students, international students, and having international students in their school is kind of an asset. So, us international students is an important part of international education in the US. Okay, and admission requirement, if you think, okay, I don't want to have a hassle in terms of the documents, community college is very, very straightforward and easy. It's 100% admission, meaning if you apply, you will be accepted. And the documents is only passport, transcript, and bank statement. Okay? English proficiency is optional. If you have English proficiency, this is better, meaning you don't have to take English classes in the US. And intakes is also more. It can be 4 intakes, spring, summer, and autumn, and winter. Okay? While for private and public university, the cost is more expensive, and the requirements is also, more things you need to prepare. Different universities has different acceptance rates. If you want to go to Ivy League, the acceptance rate can be lower than 10%. If you think, okay, this is just too difficult to get it, again, US offer more than 4,000 accredited universities that you can choose from lower than 10% acceptance rate up to offer 70% acceptance rates. So meaning like, well, it varies. It really depends on which one you think is the best fit for you. Okay? What documents you need to prepare is first is your English proficiency. In the past, when we talked about studying in the US, people would think about, okay, I need to prepare for TOEFL, IBT, or IELTS. But now, especially after pandemic, many US higher institutions in the US accept PTE and also Duolingo, which is kind of short in terms of the time and also much more affordable. Next one is essay. You will need to write an essay and recommendation letter from your school and transcript as standardized test, ACT and SAT. This is also optional. and intakes usually fall in summer. So, when we talk about finding the best fit university, there are 4,000 accredited unis you can choose from, okay? Many students know Harvard, MIT, what else? Yale, what else? Stanford, Texas A&M. But again, when we choose where to study, there are actually more than the big names we need to consider, okay? So, again, big name is great, but there are many things to consider when we choose the best fit universities. Look beyond the brand. What is good for others may not be best for you. Okay? Let's talk about Harvard. Harvard may cost you up to 80,000. But once you get financial aids or scholarships, it may be lower. And if you want to study, say for example, data science, Carnegie Mellon is also one of the top schools. And then we see, okay, big names and another not as famous as big names, but they actually offer a better quality. Okay, and how to find the best fit university? This is where Education USA is actually playing a part. You can have a free consultation with us to discuss which one is the best fit university. We're not going to tell you you need to go here, but we will provide you extensive information about how to find the best fit university, and along the way, we can have a discussion which one would be the best fit for you. Okay? What to consider? First things first is definitely a program. Do you want to do forestry? Or probably law? Or probably anyone to do sport here? Sport related major? Maybe not yet, haven't decided, okay? So we need to think about program and the curriculum. Okay? And then private and public. Why it matters? Because public uni, this is sponsored by the government, less expensive than the private one. Okay? But again, even compared to community college, the teachers or professors in the community college are still masters and PhD holders, meaning that you will get excellent quality of education. Okay? Next one is budget options and benefits, requirements and locations. Not everyone has high tolerance of freezing winter. So if you think that, oh, I cannot live in a freezing winter, then you might want to consider the areas in the south which is warmer, especially during winter. Once you open university websites, there are some information that you need to navigate. First is freshman requirements. So in the US, once you complete your undergraduate study, it consists of 4 years. The first year is freshman, second one is sophomore, and the third year is junior, and the last one is senior year. Okay, so 4 years. Once you find information for yourself as a new student, you need to find and locate freshman requirements. Next one is international students. This is very in terms of the funding and also at the same time the requirement. For international students, there are set of, say for example, standardized tests you need to take, and the required score might be higher sometimes, depending on the department. Minimum age and application process, test score, and finally is deadline. Deadline is really important because especially for the senior year here, you have to be ready at the end of the year from September to December. Some uni open until February because that's the time when you need to submit your application. Even you have not graduated yet, but you will start applying to US universities a year before you start the study. Okay? Where to find the list of the schools? We have some tools to help you navigate your best fit program. The first one is petersons.com. Using this website, you can directly type the major you want, and then it will show you list of universities that offer the program that you want. Okay? The next one is College Board. We also encourage students to use this website because this is really helpful. You can like pick the location, measures, types, and campus life. So it helps narrow down the list of the unis that you might be interested in. Okay, let's look at the example of sport-related program. Sport-related majors, this is just examples. There are more than this. For example, is Bachelor of Science in Sport Management, okay, and then Sport Studies, Sport Media, Sport Communication, Exercise and Psychology, Sport and Fitness Administration, and Health Science. This is what makes US very, very distinctive because they offer very specific programs not only for masters but also for undergraduate. I have some advices while looking for, like masters of technology in education or educational technology. In the US, more than 500 universities that offer those programs, while in other countries there are only few universities that has that specific program. So that's why I mentioned, well, US may be more expensive in terms of the tuition, but in terms of living cost, Singapore is actually sometimes more expensive than the US in terms of living cost. Okay? But you need to consider the value of the education. Okay? Now, when we check sport-related majors, those are only the few, and then we use the Petersons and College Board. There would be over 500 universities that offer sport-related program. That's single major. So, to name a few, Michigan and Arbor. Again, I mentioned in the beginning, when you see Ivy League big names, that's not always the best in terms of the program. Okay? These are some universities that offer sport-related majors. And again, even in each university, it might offer this different curriculum. When you check the university website, you need to check not only the name of the program, but also the curriculum. And see how many credits you need to offer, and see again what are the courses atau mata kuliah yang ditawarkan. You can also check the professors, okay? And then you think, oh, which one is the best fit for me? Okay? I want this school because it has more coaches, it has more professors in this field. I like these courses. Oh, I like this city because this is big city. Oh, I don't like big city. You might want to choose like a suburban city, for example. Okay? And in terms of sport program, there are some information you also need to check. For example, National Collegiate Athletic Association, or do you think that the list of the universities is the member of National Association of Intercollegiate Athletic and National Junior College Athletic Associations? Why this information matters, especially for sports, is really because you want to make sure that the university you will attend will provide what you need, what you seek for. So then, traveling far from Palembang to United States is worth doing. And you get the value of the education. Not only, sitting in class and taught by American professors, but also you might want to have social life, social activities, okay? You also want to check if the university provides sponsorships. And after looking at the financial aid provided, and then you see how much is the net price you need to pay. BS in Sport and Management, this is one of the example. When we open the website, University of Florida has this program on their website. And you want to check the freshman requirement / also international students. Okay? What to know? In the US, it has, the philosophy is liberal art, meaning that you can major in education, but at the same time get knowledge in terms of engineering. So they have major and minor. Okay? You can study fashion at the same time studying education. So they try to provide what you want. Okay? And you can take online classes, hybrid or in classes. Okay? When to start? Important dates. As I mentioned earlier, students who want to study in 2024 will apply in 2023. Okay? And you want to check first is the university open applications, and the next one is when you need to take the test, because you will need to provide the IELTS or TOEFL IBT or Duolingo. And the last one is when the application will close. Okay, interestingly, in the US, they use different platform for application. But one very common platform, they call it Common App. With one account, you can apply up to 700 colleges. So with that single account, so you just need to entry your, like the basic information on, financial and everything, your education. But then, once you select university, there will be additional essays. Okay? Some students who consulted with Education USA, most of the time they have problems with the essay. Because US universities, when they evaluate your application, they do not only look at your TOEFL score or your transcript, but they wanted to know you as a person. What distinguishes you in terms of other, can be your social experience, can be what motivates you to study in the US. Like this year, we had just one student who got accepted to Beasiswa Indonesia Maju, and that person or that student, he got accepted to Stanford University. Okay? He did not take SAT test, and his IELTS is 7. While other students may also have 7 IELTS. When I read his essay, what I learned, what made his application interesting and unique is really his motivation and his preparation. You know why he studies or he is pursuing that program or that major. At the same time, he also has joined a lot of competitions. Again, if you aim for Ivy League top universities, you also have to offer a lot of things to universities. And then you see, okay, I don't have a lot of Olympiad, but probably you have other qualities that the university is looking for. Because the diversity of international students will also make these reputations of the university, even higher. Okay? But think about also the acceptance rates. Ivy Leagues, the acceptance rate is below 10%. If you can go get into that universities in an ideal program, that's great. If not, don't worry, there are other 4,000 universities is waiting for you. Okay? Finance your studies. This is very, very important. Okay, you know where to study, what programs. But then you thought this is just going to be a dream. Okay. Source of funding for undergraduate is mainly, I have to be honest, is from parents. So the scholarship from your parents. Okay, the family funds. And then some universities also offer funding, but not so many universities offer full funding or full ride scholarships. So, the main source would be the family, but then you can seek for funding from university as financial aids. Okay, corporate institution, foundation, international organizations, and finally is government scholarship, Beasiswa Indonesia Maju. And many students got this scholarship every year. The great thing about this scholarship is the government of Indonesia pays, like the tuition and everything at cost, and you can choose any universities. But then they have list of that you can apply for. Not all you need, but they have list of university. But the great thing is they cover everything. Scholarships, where to find the scholarship? As educationusa.state.gov, and then the IEFA.org, fastweb.com, collegeboard.com, scholarships.com, IIT.org, and Stoli app. And this is just an example of educationusa.state.gov website. You you can check in the 5 steps and funding your study, especially in special opportunities and financial aids. So there will be thousands of universities that offer funding, but then FYI, many like sources of funding are actually unused every year because not so many students are applying. For undergraduate, the full ride is difficult, but again, you want to check how much the funding or the financial aids offered by universities. And again, if you have like long time self-preparation, you might get different kinds of scholarships too. And athletic scholarships is also available in the website. If you are interested in athletic, you can try find more details of the scholarships. And another exchange program, if you think, oh, I don't want to study for undergraduate study in the US, but more of an exchange now, the YES program is open, and the information is also available in US Consulate Medan, Consulate ASMDM. And this is a great program because you will study 1 year in the US and study in high school, but this is for 17 years old students. And also YCE, this is for 18 and 35 years old. Like it can be any students in universities, also high school graduates, as long as you fulfill the requirements. And for further details, you can check in youngsoutheastasianleaders.state.gov. If you have further questions about studying in the US, Education USA is here to help you. What we do is you can have one-on-one consultation. So after this, you can contact Education USA Aceh for one-on-one. It can be online or offline. We can have a group consultation and webinar, info session, and fairs. Like this year, we do a fair in Medan. So we also do a fair in Jakarta. So, and to get the updates, this is an annual fair where we invited universities from the US to travel to Indonesia. And we also do graduate fair in October in Jakarta, Surabaya, in Jakarta, Malang, and Surabaya. Jakarta, Malang, and Yogyakarta, sorry. And we will invite many schools, including Harvard, Carnegie Mellon, and Brown, and Yale will be coming to Indonesia. And again, all services and events by Education USA is free of charge. And to get updates on studying in the US and program by Education USA Indonesia, feel free to sign up for bi-weekly program updates, Education USA Indonesia newsletter. Okay, maybe you want to at least scan the barcode. Okay, so for further information, you can contact Education USA Aceh. This is the email, aceh@educationusa.org. You can also book virtual consultation through calendly.com/educationusa Indonesia. And feel free to join, and we highly encourage you to follow our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Education USA Indonesia. I think that's all, and I'm looking forward if you still have any questions. Thank you, everybody.
Let's give us an applause. Thank you for your great explanation, Mrs. Lilis. Hopefully this information can help Kusuma Bangsa High School students who are here to pursue their dreams. Okay, after hearing those interesting material and experiences, I open a question and answer session for all of my friends here. Please ask your questions in English so we won't misunderstand it. Then don't forget to state your name and class with your question. Who's gonna be the first to ask? Feel free to ask, guys. Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Fabian from X2. I was wondering, what are the ways that we can get a scholarship abroad in US?
Thank you so much, Fabian. So the question is, what are the ways that we can get into a scholarship in the USA?
Okay. Thanks for the question, Fabian. So I have shown list of websites that you can navigate the scholarship. Probably, can we go back to the slide? Okay. So, yes, here we go. So to get scholarship, especially for undergraduate program, usually once you send your application, you can check the financial aids link, and then later on there will be directions on how to apply to financial aids. Okay. What qualify you as a scholarship recipient? It also varies. There are different kinds of scholarships. Merit-based and need-based. Merit-based means that you are qualified for that scholarship because of your academic qualifications. Like, you have good grades, okay? And then including like you have high TOEFL score, your your academic history was great, like you joined a lot of competitions during your high schools. Another one is need-based. Need-based means that you need support in terms of financial. And the school can check based on the financial statement provided by your parents, and then based on that evaluation, the university can provide you the funding. Well, there are the navigation process is kind of tricky, meaning that once you apply to universities, don't just do that in a very short amount of time, but start early. Because when you start early, you can get more information on scholarships, and then the number can vary, and then at the end of the day, you can decide which one is the best fit universities. Like I mentioned, okay, the private uni is much more expensive. They charge you higher amount compared to the public schools. But again, they offer more scholarships, including the full ride scholarships. Compared to graduate students like masters and PhD, the opportunity for undergraduate is actually less, because once you are doing masters, you can work for university. There's another channel, they call it assistantship. So you can study as a master student, but at the same time you work for your professors, either as a teaching assistant or research assistant, or probably as a graduate assistant, meaning like you help the universities in terms of administrations. Okay. Another thing you need to prepare is really an interesting essay. Okay. Again, why essay is important? Because if we talked about IELTS, students having IELTS, there are many students. You probably get 7, other students get 7, but the story that you have, the motivation, okay, the perseverance, what drives you to the U.S. universities, and at the same time, what can you contribute to U.S. universities also matters. Okay, we as international students is their assets, because the varieties of the students, then meaning that the discussion will be more alive. You can share your thought to university at the same time. And again, if you know, say for example, okay, I'm good at sport, you can be their student athlete later on. Or probably you have some skills that later on you can share to universities. Or probably that university has very strong students club, for example. You want to contribute to that club. That's another thing that can help you get accepted to U.S. universities, at the same time the financial aids. Okay? Yeah, hope that helps. Oh, plus. The support from schools is also very, very important, because essay is you yourself writing. It's from the point of view of yourself. But later on, once your teacher can supply a strong and convincing recommendation letter, this is also can convince the committee in the universities to grant you the scholarships, and at the same time accept it in their school. Yeah, hope that helps. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Lilis. For Fabian, is there any further questions? Enough. Okay. Is there any other questions, guys? Okay.
My name is Fadil Kairos from 11-1. I want to ask you, do we need to get a high score to go to university? Do they look to our score?
Okay, that's a good question. Siapa tadi panggilannya? Fadil. Fadil. Okay. So that's a great question, Fadil. Once selected or screening applicants, the admission team, they name the process as a holistic review. Holistic means they will take into account all the documents that you submit. The more thing you can offer to the universities, the most likelihood you will be accepted to university. Because again, top unis with less than 10% acceptance rate is very high competition, right? It's very, very competitive. The more you can offer, the most likely you will get accepted. And will they look into your grade? Yes, of course. They will look at all the documents. What are the documents? First will be your TOEFL score, okay? And then your grades or transcripts. And the next one will be your essay, recommendation letter, and sometimes some universities also require you to take SAT and ACT tests. If you think that, okay, I want to get into a dream school, then you should have a more solid preparations. But then you think, oh, I want to apply to US universities to kind of to get a 100% acceptance rate and low tuition and fees. So then associate degree in community college will be an excellent program too. What is great about community college, because you can do the OPT twice. So you finish your community college and then you earn your associate. You can do an OPT for 1 year and later on you transfer to university for another 2 years and earn your bachelor's degree. And after that you can also do another OPT. So in total, the same 4 years for associate and bachelor program or bachelor degree, and get 2 opportunities for OPT. Okay? Hope that helps, Fadil.
Okay, is there any further questions, Fadil? Okay, thank you so much. Is there any other questions, guys? From the right side or from the left side? Is there any questions? Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Dea from 12-1. I want to ask if there's any tips and trick in writing essays for the admission. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great question. Essay, yeah? How many essays will you have to write? Do you still remember the platform where you submit your application for 700 universities? What's the name again? Common what? Commoners? No. Commons application or abbreviated Common Apps. Okay? One application you can submit up to 700 universities. Okay, essay. Different uni may require you to submit different numbers of essay, but for sure, for Common App 1, you will need to pick 1 out of 7 topics. Okay? What would be the topic of questions in Common App? First, okay, the question will be telling you what is the most important thing in your life and why. Okay? Question 2 is about, have you experienced any failure and how you cope with that, and what are the lessons learned from that experience. Okay? And another question is about identity. Tell us about who you are, okay, and your background. Okay? And another question is about leadership and achievement. And out of 7 prompts, you will only need to write 1 essay. Okay? But the more universities you're applying to, the more essay you will need to write. Because Common App, 1 essay for all. But then each university will ask for different essay. Like, okay, for example, Stanford, they have 7 prompts, small prompts that you will need to answer. Okay? The more university you apply, the more ample of time you need to provide for yourself to write. Then you will have first, second, and third revisions until you find the best versions or draft. Okay, so how to write a strong essay? Okay, we should have another session on that. But in general, when we talked about essay for you as graduate, you need to understand the writing style, the word length, and the prompt. Okay? For example, if it asks you about describe the failure that you experience and then how you cope with that and lesson learned, make sure that in your essay you cover all of the 3 aspects. Okay, or the keywords: the failure, how you cope, or the solutions, and lesson learned. And the next one, make it personal, because this is about you. Okay, I told you before, you may have 7 in IELTS, another here can have 8. Okay, but then what distinguishes you can be in terms of your essay. Okay, and how do students write essay? It should be personal. Personal means, okay, based on your personal experience. Okay, and later on don't forget to mention about the examples. Okay, if you say I learned a lot of things, you need to elaborate more. What are the things that you learned and why? What do you think this is the best lesson learned from you? Okay, one of the students who got accepted to Stanford Uni, like for example I mentioned previously, he answered the prompt about what is important, the most important thing in his life. And his answer is actually none other than family. But the way he wrote the essay, not because the most important part in my life is my family. This is very common types of writing. This is personal, descriptive, like storytelling, but at the same time you should have data and examples in it. For example, I remember he said like, when he mentioned about family, he does not directly say the most important part is my family, but he said one midnight at the end of 2022, we sat down in front of the living room and discussed about our plan for the next year. My mother, my brother, and me, blah, 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 until the end of the story. So, not direct statement by saying the most important part is my family, but we also need to consider the style of the writing itself to make it more interesting. Okay? And he told the story about the family. He mentioned the family members, like the brother, what was his goal, and he himself, what was his goal, and the mother, how the mother supported them, without saying the mother was the main supporter. But he said like the mother nodded her hat, right? And in the end, at the end of the essay, he concluded by saying that his brother, who planned to work, okay, whose goal was to work overseas, and then at the mid-year, in the following year, he is now working in his dream university, in his dream company, and he won the competitions. And the mother herself was really happy with the progress of the kids. And that is something that you will miss when he started his study in the US. Okay, so make it personal. Okay, everybody has family, but what like the condition of the family might be different from one to one. Again, if you have any failure, it's okay to tell about the vulnerability of yourself, but at the same time, don't forget to hit with the comeback and the lesson learned from that experience. So we can have another session with again, if you are planning to study in the US, feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to read your essay and provide some feedback. And again, you give yourself ample of time. So for the draft, so you can have the best versions of the essay. I hope that helps. And plus, okay, I forgot the grammar and the word choice sometimes is also method. So then give some time for revisions. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Lilis, for the explanation. Bea, is there any other questions? Okay. For everyone, is there any other questions?
Hello, my name is Aisha and I'm from 12-5 and I would like to ask you this question. What's the university that has the highest change for us to get into? That highest change to get us into.
What's the university that has the highest chance for us to get into?
Great questions. Oh, then the question is about acceptance rate, right? Okay. So the highest rates of acceptance will be community college. Okay, community college means study 2 years in community college. You complete your 2-year program, earn associate, and later on transfer to university, go for your program, and you earn your bachelor. But then, how can I check the acceptance rates? First, what you need to do is think about, have you decided what major you want to study? Not yet? Oh, that's another interesting part of US University. You can change your major up to your 3rd grade. Okay? So, you can study with non-major in the 1st and 2nd year. But if you know what to study earlier, it will be easier for you to plan. Right? You know what courses to take. Okay? If you want to take any practical, or probably you want more research-based or practical-based degree, so then you can decide. But in case you have not decided yet, so then community college will be an ideal option too. Community college, what differentiated to universities in addition to the funding and the cost, also the number of students. Community college, in the classes are only 20 students, okay, with 1 professor, so it's more student-centered. You can have, communication with your professors and academic advisors. Then you can decide which one would be an ideal degree for you or probably major, and then where to transfer. So it can help you prepare for your transfer too. Okay. What about universities? The Ivy League stand for the Harvard University, MIT, Yale, UPenn, Dartmouth, right, Brown. Those acceptance rate can be lower than 10%. So once you open the university website, you can check the acceptance rate there. What about the rest of it? An easier way to check is first, you can use Peterson's on College Board, and then you type your major, and then there will be numbers of universities pop up, and later on you check one by one, okay, the curriculum and the courses, and at the same time you check the acceptance rates and the requirements. Okay, for example, I know more universities in the south have higher acceptance rates than the eastern part, the north. Okay, so then you know which one is more competitive and which one is more safe to choose. And ideally, you can classify your option into 3 categories: the dream school, the safety school, and the target school. Dream school means the acceptance rate is very high. Okay. The second one is the target school. You might want to choose 2 schools. Which one you think, okay, this acceptance rate is below 50%, but the quality is great. I like the programs and the professors. And the last one is you think, okay, this is the safest school, meaning like I might not get into the dream school and the target school, but I'm very confident that I'll get into the safety school with the higher acceptance rate and an easier application requirements. Okay, did that help? Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna move on to the sharing session. For Miss Christy, time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Liz, Ms. Jessica, Ms. Rahmat. Please give a round of applause for these ladies for coming. So you guys have heard some things about how to study in the US and whatnot. So I'm here just to talk about my experience a little bit. So you've seen some of the programs like YES, going to community colleges and going to universities. I was one of those people actually. So I was an alumni here. So that was like what, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, been a while. Anyway, but I didn't actually finish school here because when I was 17, I got the YES scholarship, the exchange student scholarship, which is actually opening their application starting today. So if you have any questions about that, and if you're interested in going on exchange, talk to our people at the Psychology Center, or you can also talk to Miss Rainey, or if you see me around, you can just come ask. So I was lucky enough to be one of 70 kids to go abroad as an exchange student. So I did my junior year there in North Carolina, actually, as an exchange student. So that was like a year of my life. And then afterwards, instead of like finishing my high school here, I went to a community college in Washington State. So not Washington, DC, Washington State. So what's great about community colleges is that it's a nice stepping stone for you guys to have a little toe dip into the world of US colleges, okay? So the way universities work everywhere is that you have 4 years of study, correct? And then pretty much the first 2 years of your university life is that you get to explore what you want to be, And then it's not until you're a junior so that's like your third year, you get to choose your major, okay? And what's nice about community colleges is that it's small enough, kalau di sini istilahnya sekolah tinggi lah ya. So it's small enough, and then you get to take your basic classes in a smaller enough setting, and you get to explore what you want, okay? And then afterwards, after 2 years of community colleges, I went to a university, also in Seattle. It's called the University of Washington, and I did my business school there, okay? But then, when I did my business school, I was there with a very sound, I did it because I want to. Because when I was in the community college, I went through all the business classes, all the smaller business classes, and I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, okay? Afterwards, you can pretty much just start looking for colleges. Start looking for colleges that you would like to go to. Look at the acceptance rate. Look at all the dream schools that you would like to go to. Well, at that time, I only applied to University of Washington. I was lucky enough to get accepted. Okay, so that was 2 years, and then when you're in college, it's a pretty fun place to be. Because you get to hang out with people your age, you get to hang out with people that has the same mindset as you guys, and then you can also start becoming a mini adult version, pretty much. So as an international student, you can work in the U.S., but you can only work if your workplace is in the college. Okay, so. Funny story, when I was in college, the one job that all Indonesians want, all Indonesian kids want, is, maybe anybody want to guess, maybe? So the one job that everybody wants is to become the popcorn machine attendant. Is to become a popcorn machine attendant in the club, pretty much. So in the US, you can join lots of clubs, and then all the clubs have, all the universities have buildings that are built just for these clubs, pretty much. You can have like a chess club, you can have like a Call of Duty club, or you can have like academic clubs. And then when you go to these buildings, sometimes they would have snack rooms. And then that's the one job that Indonesians want, is to become the attendant of that snack room, because you can get free popcorn, free candies, free sodas, and everybody wants that job. And you get paid pretty well, because some of these, most of the jobs you get paid hourly, and if you're lucky enough to be in a city where they pay really nice hours. So at that time, it was like $15 an hour. So what, 15 times 15 this day? So what, around 225,000 rupiah, more or less. So that's pretty nice. So you can pretty much tell your parents, hey, don't send me more money because I got my own money now. So, and when you're in school, you get to join clubs, you get to meet people, and lots of people are going to be there to help you succeed. Okay? So you'll have friends, you'll have advisors. If you're going to go abroad, my best tip to you guys is to be friends with your advisors. Okay? Because these are the people who knows the system from pretty much page to page. Okay? They're going to help you navigate what courses to take, what, say, clubs to join if you're interested and whatnot. And that's gonna help you in the long run, okay? And then after college, I also did a bit of work there. So you as an exchange student also get a chance to actually work in the US. So there's a program called OPT. It stands for Optional Practical Training. So after graduation, you get at least a year to work there in your own. So if you're if you're a business major, you need to have a job in the business sector. Okay. If you're say a STEM major, so science, engineering, whatnot, you are allowed to have a job in the STEM section. And actually, if you're in STEM, engineering, science, whatever, it's not just 1 month. It can even go for like 18 months or even 2 years. Okay? Like I have friends who work with Boeing. I have friends who work with Microsoft. You know, all those big names. And that's pretty cool if you want to get like more experience. And hey, maybe afterwards you get to stay there and keep on working or keep on studying, or you get to come back here. And when you come back here, you get to bring lots of like experiences here. So even if you're not gonna go to the US, start thinking about, especially for the 11th graders, you guys only have like a year less to think about where you want to go to school. Start thinking about which school you want to go to, which country you would like to go to, you know? And then start talking to the people at the psychology center. Start talking to people like Miss Lillis here, because these are the people who can help you figure out like, oh, what grade should I be, what should I be doing to get to that goal, okay? Any question? No, we're good, okay. That's just a little insight about my previous lives before I'm here. Okay, thank you guys, bye.
Thank you so much, Miss Christy, for sharing your experience in the USA. It was a very interesting story to hear, and I'm sure there are not a few students who want to go study abroad in the USA after hearing your stories. After listening to the material presented by our 3 previously guests, we can conclude that there are so many ways for us to get a scholarship in the US. Also, there are a lot of benefits and Indonesian students there, so we don't have to be afraid to take the risk and go study abroad in the USA. To close our meeting today, of course, please allow us to capture this important moment, as well as provide souvenirs for your arrival in Kusuma Bangsa High School. We invite Miss Christy to give those souvenirs with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Bu Ini, for sharing. Pictures? Yeah, I'll just stand here.